I don't know about you, but I'm turned on. What's happening, film friends? Dave the Film Junkie here. All right, let's talk more about that Ezra Miller crossover into the CW Crisis on Infinite Earths, coming face to face with Grant Gustin's Flash. Now, first off, it's amazing that they pulled it off, okay? In this age where everything's leaking, there's always word of mouth, rumors, and everything's instant, like in your fucking face, on your phone, and everything. I'm surprised that they kept this under wraps. I'm so glad they did, because once it happened, I mean, it just fucking blew up. My mentions were blowing up. My timeline was blowing up. It all just went crazy, and people were loving it. Most of the people were loving it. Of course, there are people that hate it, and that's why I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to talk about the effect that the crossover has on the DCEU, Snyder Cut, and all that stuff. But first, let's talk about how it happened. Variety has that information for us. We got this article that says how Crisis on Infinite Earths pulled off the Ezra Miller cameo, and they basically sat down with Mr. Guggenheim to ask him pretty much how were you able to combine the two with Miller's cameo. And this is what he had to say right here. We were series wrapped on Arrow, and we were wrapped on the whole crossover. We were in post, and some episodes were locked, and some were soft lock. I got a phone call from Warner Brothers boss Peter Roth saying, I know you're locked, but can you put Ezra in the crossover? And I said, yes. And he said, how? You're series wrapped, and you're wrapped on the crossover. And I said, yeah, I know, but if you're telling me Ezra Miller can be in a crossover, I can make it happen. I called Eric Wallace, who is the showrunner of Flash, and he called Grant Gustin because one thing that was their only concern was the thought of if he wasn't on board, basically 100%, then they weren't going to do it. And he was incredibly enthusiastic and on board with it. And then we got a phone call with Ezra Miller and told him the scene that I had written, and he was completely into it. And we just went. We put it together. We put together a unit of Flash crew and on Flash and set and blah, blah, blah. And much to our surprise, no one noticed Ezra Miller was in Vancouver, and no one leaked it from crew, which is what they appreciate. And then they're able to keep a surprise. So there you go. That's how it all came to be. Now, I heard other things. I heard Ezra Miller threw out the idea, contacted Warner Brothers. It was basically a last-minute thing because, like I said, they had series wrapped. They had a lot of the shows locked, and like I said, some locked. But, I mean, when you're going to have that, I mean, that's a big thing, and it was huge. Huge. So what does it mean for the whole thing? Well, like I said in previous videos, I'm like, and even on my podcast, I mean, it really expands the multiverse, and it really expands everything and basically connects everything. You know, we were kind of wondering, oh, it's going to be separate from the TV show. It's going to be separate from the DC Universe shows and the CW shows and blah, 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 blah. But what this whole Crisis on Earth saying, well, everything's fucking connected. It's just all on different Earths. Earth, you know, Earth Prime, Earth 2, all that shit. And especially specifically with the Flash of what he's able to do, time travel, and then, of course, jump multiverses, it was just kind of cool to see that you can actually have that. And it's so funny, too, because I always wonder, like, well, they share the same name, but they don't look the same, sound the same. How is that even a thing when sometimes when you're jumping, you see the same person, but they're like maybe under a different kind of, you know, they're not exactly like the person in this Earth. And then I thought, well, what if it... I mean, I'm sure it's explained, but I always thought, well, maybe because when the parents went boinky, 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 didn't do it at the same time, so when things got mixed together, it just made a different kind of face. I don't need to get into the logistics of all that, but basically, when it came to what this meant about a Snyder Cut, well, it just meant that articles were out there talking about the Snyder Cut because Ezra Miller, of course, is in that movie. That's where he gets introduced, and that's always, I mean, obviously it's mainstream now. It's part of the culture. So naturally, when that happened, people started talking about the Snyder Cut. That night, Ezra Miller was trending, so that's why me and a lot of other people were using the release of Snyder Cut hashtag and Zack Snyder's Justice League hashtag. And of course, the diehard people they hated it, absolutely hated it. Thought it was the worst thing ever because I don't understand that when anything can help. And you know, I've always been told about it. Any little thing helps, right? But it's all about if they approve. But yeah, so the way I look at it, it actually did help. It got people talking about it, especially if people just watch the CW shows, doesn't really know what was happening. Like, who was this Flash? Oh, he was part of that Justice League movie that was so bad. And turns out there's a whole other Justice League movie where this Flash actually saves the day. He actually kicks a lot of ass. He does some crazy shit in the movie. We just haven't fucking seen it yet. So bringing Ezra Miller into the CW audience helps get him talking about the Snyder Cut. Helps getting more hype out there. But like I said, I mean, as little things happen like this, and the hype goes, we get charged, and then the next day we're like, what the fuck now? We just gotta be patient. Just gotta be patient. Simple as that. We just gotta be patient because things are happening behind the scenes, and it's always a slow fucking process. I mean, it can't be like Barry and be super fast. So there you go, guys. Just wanted to talk about that a little bit. Chime in on that a little more. Let me know your thoughts about it down below. What do you think about the crossover? What are your thoughts about it? Hit that like, thumbs up button if you'd be so kind. Subscribe to my channel at filmjunkie.com for all my content. Follow me on the sock meds over there. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Patreon if you want to help out down below. And, of course, shirts as well. All right?